Hi guys, today we're going to look at the cosine of an angle. Now the cosine of an angle is defined as the relationship between the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So this is the adjacent, and you'll notice it runs between the right angle and the angle. And the word adjacent means next to. So the way I like to feel about this is it's next to the angle. Okay, now we know this one here is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. And the cosine of an angle, or the cos of an angle, so cos, in this case my angle is 20, which is what I've written here, is going to be the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. I've just noticed my horrendous spelling there. Adjacent. So we use this in questions where we are given either the adjacent or the hypotenuse and asked to find the other one out. So for example, if this is 20 degrees, this is 5 centimeters, and I need to find what this is. I would first start off by labeling my sides. This is my adjacent, this is my hypotenuse. And I know that cos 20 is equal to the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. Now I'm going to use an algebra triangle, which you've seen me use before. And in this case I'm finding the hypotenuse, so I'm going to cover that over. So I've got A over C, so that's a divide. So I'm going to say that H is equal to A, my adjacent, which is 5, over cos 20. Which I'll put on my trusty calculator. 5 divided by cos 20 is equal to 5.32. So remember, if you're not asked for a degree of accuracy, we're going to go for 3 significant figures each time. So that's if we wanted to find the hypotenuse. If the question was alternatively on like this, so we've got 30 degrees, 10 centimeters, and I needed to find my adjacent. Again, I would start off by labeling my sides, hypotenuse and adjacent, and I would draw my algebra triangle CAH. That's the same every time. I'm finding the adjacent, so I'm going to cover that over. These two are on the same line, so I'm going to use that as times. So I'm going to say that A is equal to cos 30 times 10. Put that into my calculator. Cos 30 times 10 is equal to 5√3, it says, which is 8.66 centimeters. And again to 3 significant figures. So very much like my earlier video where we used sine, and sine was the relationship between the opposite and the hypotenuse. This is where we have the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So we're looking at two different sides. So the cos of an angle is defined as the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse, and regardless of how big that triangle was with that 20 degrees, the answer to this side divided by that side is always going to get the same answer, and that's pre-worked out by that cos value. Remember that cos has no value on its own, it's the cos of the angle. Cos is a property of that particular angle, so it's always connected to an angle. You cannot just have a cos on its own. It's not times and it's not dividing. We're just saying it's the cos of that angle is always going to be equal to the adjacent divided by hypotenuse. And from there on, it's a similar sort of story to what we did with sine. And in finding missing sides, we use the algebra triangle. In this case, it's the CAH one. And we're shading what bits we need to find out, and that tells us whether to divide or whether to times. Okay, I think that should be straightforward.